Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Luke Papala Show. We have some breaking news here, and we're just going to get it to you right now. Donald Trump was recently asked, actually an hour ago, about Tucker Carlson's episode that he did with Nick Fuentes 3 weeks ago, right? Biggest podcast, one of the biggest podcast episodes of the entire year, got over 6 million views, no pun intended. But Trump was forced to answer a question about Tucker having Nick Fuentes on. And for the first time ever, he didn't disavow him. Now, this is huge because Trump has disavowed Fuentes in the past, right? We know this all the way back in the debates for 2024. When he had that presidential meeting, the lunch, or dinner, it was him, Trump, Kanye, Milo Yiannopoulos, right, in Mar-a-Lago. And it was subject of a lot of controversy, of a lot of criticism, because at the time, that's the first time I heard about Nick. They called him a white nationalist, and they smeared him, specifically to smear the president. And J.D. Vance was forced to disavow him, and he disavowed him back in like 2024, I believe, the same year. And recently, he's kind of distanced himself from disavowing Fuentes. Why? Because the Groyper movement is a growing force on the right, and mainly in the Republican Party, in their circles, staffers in Washington, all of that stuff. We understand that. But listen to what Trump said literally just about an hour ago when a reporter asked him if he was going to disavow Nick Fuentes, what he thought of that Tucker interview.
I've had some great interviews with Tucker Carlson, but you can't tell him who to interview. I mean, if he wants to interview Nick Fuentes, I don't know much about him, but if he wants to do it, get the word out. Let him, people have to decide. Ultimately, people have to decide. The mayor of New York, I will say, would like to meet with us, and we'll work something out. But he would like to come to Washington and meet, and we'll work something out. We want to see everything work out well for New York.
You yourself had dinner with Nick Fuentes at Mar-a-Lago a few years ago. What role should he play in the conservative movement?
Well, I didn't know he was coming, and he was with, as you know, somebody, Kanye. And Kanye asked if he could have dinner, and he brought Nick. I didn't know Nick at the time. And he did. He came, and along with a few other people. He brought a few people with him. Meeting people, talking to people, like for somebody like Tucker, that's what they do. People are controversial. Some are, some aren't. I'm not controversial, so I like it that way.
I'm not controversial, so I like it that way. He's a comedian, if not anything else. The guy, almost 80 years old, is a comedian, no doubt. But what does this mean? What does it symbolize? Why are we talking about it? Well, like I said in the past, the people on the right, obviously on the left, but people on the right, people in the Republican Party have been very quick to distance themselves from Nick Fuentes. People like Ben Shapiro, people like Charlie Kirk, the gatekeepers in the conservative movement, for lack of a better term. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she went to what was called the America First Political Action Committee in, I believe this was 22. It was called AFPAC. It was basically Nick's response to CPAC. And good turnout, right? And Marjorie Taylor Greene makes an appearance at this America First conference, right? Really cool. And shortly after, she ended up disavowing. We can go back to Joe Kent in 2022, I believe it was 2022. Joe Kent, this guy that now works in the CIA, or works somewhere in the administration. I believe it is the CIA. But nevertheless, he's a guy that at the time was running for a Republican seat as a representative in Washington. And they kind of had an agreement, him and Fuentes had an agreement that, hey, we're going to support you. The Groypers are going to support you. We're going to go to Washington. We're going to campaign for you. We're going to knock on doors for you. All you have to do is don't disavow us. And then, shortly after that, ends up disavowing Nick. And so you see this, right? People have, over the past couple of years, I've been studying this, people have attributed Fuentes, have attributed the Groypers to being toxic, to being political career killing, for lack of a better term. And we've seen this for a long time, right? And so now it's very interesting that the president of the United States, the Republican president of the United States, is forced to acknowledge Fuentes and say, like, we're not going to disavow him, which is insane because it shows how popular this movement, this true America First movement, is becoming. And conversely, we see this rift between Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene, and we're going to bring these text messages up, but it is over this specific problem of being America First. And why is Trump We're going to get to that in a second. But why is Trump acknowledging Fuentes? It's because the Groypers and Gen Z men, they've lost Gen Z men. Gen Z men more and more are becoming Groypers, and it's very real and it's very obvious to see. If you look online, if you look at the Republicans' polling numbers, if you look at these elections where it was a Dem, not a blue wave, it was a Dem little pot, a little ripple, right? Because obviously the elections, it wasn't a lot. There were like 7 elections. But nevertheless, the left won, and the left won pretty big. And so we know that Trump has a small circle. He only listens to a few people. And these people aren't really that well informed. But interestingly enough, the message finally got through to him. And he understands, hopefully he understands, what we see. Young men in particular, young Gen Z men in particular, are seeing this guy is not America first. With all of his policies, with sending billions of dollars to Israel, a foreign country, when we can't even get jobs. I have so many friends that have 4-year degrees, and either they can't get a job for the degree that they got, and it's not just a bullshit women's studies job. It's you have a STEM job, you have even a blue collar type of industry, right? My friends who are qualified, who have the training, whether it's a degree, whether it's training somewhere for a trade, they don't have the ability to get a job. And when you see other people that are being taken advantage of this system because they're either migrants. I mean, we go over the numbers all the time. The migrant labor and then the H-1B visas being taken. What you're doing is you're exploiting these people, but you're taking advantage of the system and you're pushing my friends out of the job market. And the problem is we all see this, and Trump isn't doing anything about it. He just announced a couple days ago he wants to bring over 600,000 Chinese nationals into the country and get them to go to the universities and eventually take up jobs, excluding people like me, men like me. And this is a problem. And this is one of the many other things, right? We could talk about everything. We could talk about the war, starting another war in Venezuela despite campaigning as the peace candidate, right? All of this stuff. So Gen Z, he's lost Gen Z, or he is losing Gen Z. And so he sees this. Somebody must have told him that he has to do this if they ask him this question. And you know what? More power to him. I will give him credit. More power to him. If he starts to virtue signal like this, and then he starts to put forth policies that are actually going to help us. I mean, the whole thing when he's talking about there's not a housing crisis. And then, we're going to declare in 2026 a national housing emergency. No, we are feeling this now. People my age cannot buy homes. People my age cannot start families, specifically because of the economy. And you are not doing anything for us. So this is a start, but still, he needs to understand why these problems are happening. He needs to understand why he is losing support among Gen Z. But he is not the only one. Interestingly enough, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who we talked about a couple minutes ago, having a relationship with Nick Fuentes. Well, folks, guess what? She's in the news as well. And she also refused to disavow Nick Fuentes. And this time she was on CNN. And she was on Dana Bash's show. And I'm just going to play this for you. We might not play the whole thing, but listen to her. Same thing, refusing to disavow Nick Fuentes. I mean, it's insane. It is a Groyper W. Here we go.
Tucker Carlson hosted white nationalist Nick Fuentes on his podcast, didn't question Fuentes about his vile language or views. You did speak at a conference hosted by Fuentes back in 2022. You were criticized, and you said then that you didn't know about his views. Well, Fuentes talked to Carlson about that in the interview. Listen to what he said.
Well, again, with Marjorie, I was a friend of hers, and she spoke at my conference, and then the day after, she pretended like she didn't know me. She pretended like she didn't know me and lied and said I had no idea the conference I was speaking at. She knew exactly what it was.
What do you say to that?
Well, first of all, I defend every single person's free speech rights. I think that's incredibly important. So I don't apologize for that, and I don't believe in canceling people. And I think it's important for people like Tucker Carlson and yourself to interview everyone. I don't believe in trying to cancel someone by refusing to interview them and question them. And I did speak at his conference back in 2022. However, I don't know Nick Fuentes. He's someone I've never exchanged text messages with or phone calls, but I did speak at his conference. That was the first time I had met him that day, and that was it. But I did watch the interview. I watched the full interview with Tucker, and I admire him for interviewing many people as well as exposing a lot of powerful information.
I hear what you're saying.
He does on his show.
I hear what you're saying about free speech. I mean, count me as guilty as a proponent of free speech. There's free speech, and then there is hate speech. And this is a man invited on a really prominent conservative show who said, even during that interview, he had a problem with, quote, organized Jewry, and he wasn't challenged on it. In the past, he has denied the Holocaust, called Adolf Hitler effing cool, talked about the fact that he thought Jim Crow was just fine, and on and on. So again, there's free speech, and then there's just hateful language and sentiments.
Well, Dana, again, I told you on this interview that I'm committed to ending the toxic politics, and I think I don't want to have anything to do with it. You should have Nick Fuentes on your show, and you could ask him questions about that. I myself am.
And there we go. So again, a little bit lengthy of a clip than we usually play on the show, but nevertheless, I mean, Dana Bash kind of grilled Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Marjorie, God bless her, she's trying to run for president, I think, and she did a really good job staying on her point, standing on business, and it's true and good for her and good for the movement. So now you're starting to see this movement gain political liabilities. Like this is real. You're starting to see inroads. This America First movement, I hate to say it, led by Marjorie Taylor Greene, it's getting somewhere. And the Groyper movement as well, conversely, is getting somewhere. Finally, political power. Finally, American independence, American sovereignty. It is real. It is happening. The future is bright. Not to steal the line from Patrick Bet-David, but like it's very true. This is a very good thing. Now, can we get policy wins? I'm not sure if we can get that in the near term, but the Republicans know this, and I mean, let's be honest. This is what Nick's been talking about. This is what we've been talking about on Innocent Villains. In 2026, if you do not cater to Americans first above any foreign country, if you do not cater to Gen Z when it comes to the economy, then we are going to withhold our votes. And it's going to be a blue fucking tidal wave, without a doubt, right? We know this. In 2028, if you want any sense of political power, it can't be J.D. Vance. It's probably not going to be J.D. Vance. And if it is J.D. Vance, if he doesn't bring on and adopt some of these America First policies in any which way, if he doesn't change his tune, then we're going to sit out of that election too. And so he sees this, and they see how vulnerable they are now. They see if they don't get us, then they are truly fucked. They are truly fucked. And it's at a point where a couple of weeks ago, before the Democrats won all of those key races in New Jersey, in Virginia, in New York City with Mom Donnie, and so on and so forth, if they didn't get those wins, then they were on their way to being dead forever and potentially never winning a major election again. Like they were on that path, and they corrected course. So now it's the Republicans' term. What are they going to do? Because if they cater to the Shapiros, and they cater to the Andrew Clavens, and they cater to kind of like what Charlie Kirk was before he passed, all of this pro-Israel over America, then they are not going to win any elections. So give Trump his credit. He could have disavowed Nick. He could have disavowed Tucker. He didn't. And free speech is winning. And speaking of free speech, we do have something that we do need to talk about. A little bit of a lesser known story, but nevertheless, we do need to cover it. So if you've watched Succession before, which I know a lot of you have, and it was a very good show, you're probably familiar with the actress whose name is Dasha Nekrasova. She was an actress on Succession. She played Kendall Roy's assistant, okay? And this is a big deal. Now, she was recently dropped by her talent agency, and the reason why is because of free speech. She has, since after Succession, she started a podcast called the Red Scare Podcast. And after she had Nick Fuentes on her podcast, her talent agency dropped her, completely dropped her, was done. And while, a lot of people on the left were claiming that Jimmy Kimmel being taken off the air was a massive infringement on free speech, which, yes, it was, I don't hear them talking at all about this very issue. So here we go. From the New York Post. Succession actress Dasha Nekrasova dropped by talent agency after podcast with far-right commentator Nick Fuentes. Quote, Dasha Nekrasova, a podcaster and actress who appeared on Succession, has been fired from her talent agency Gersh following a controversial podcast appearance. A spokesperson for the agency confirmed the news to Variety. The actress, 34, was let go after she and her co-host Anna Kachian had far-right commentator Nick Fuentes on the Red Scare podcast. This is Dasha. The October 10th episode covered a series of controversial topics, including Fuentes' rise to fame, immigration, Charlie Kirk's assassination, vaccinations, and Kanye West, among other issues. The Post reached out to Gersh for comment. On Succession, Nekrasova portrayed Comfrey Pelletis, a crisis PR agent on Kendall Roy's team, for 9 episodes. She also appeared in The Serpent, Dickinson, Mr. Robot, Materialists, and The Scary of 61st. This isn't the first time Nekrasova has come under fire for her controversial actions. In 2023, the actress was quoted in a New Yorker article stating, quote, Francis is not the real Pope, we all know it. You're not going to get rid of the Freemasons, you're not going to get rid of the Jews. They infiltrated the church a long time ago, end quote. Here's another picture of Dasha. And then here's her in Succession, right? So you have Kendall Roy, and she was his assistant. So, what do you guys think? Because, interestingly enough, the left was just crying about free speech when Jimmy Kimmel got fired. And I understand that was technically, was it the government? Probably. Was it Trump? Yes. Wrong. But what happened to interviewing people, and what happened to free speech? Why is this any different? It just doesn't make sense to me. Why should somebody be refused the right to work on a film in Hollywood and acting, specifically because she had a controversial guest on her podcast? Which, by the way, it wasn't even like mainstreamed. Like, you couldn't even find it on YouTube. It was very hard to find on X or Rumble. Like, you had to do some digging. But then again, you're not going to find anybody on the left that's mad about this because they're just not principled. Because they don't agree with Nick Fuentes and what he says. Now, no matter who you are, unless you're calling for violence, then you should be able to speak your mind. It doesn't matter what the issue is. Nick Fuentes is never caught, and I watch the streams religiously, as somebody that claims to be a part of this movement. This guy has not called for violence once. He's always said, this is not non-violent movement. We are not in favor of violence. I disavow and I disown anybody who claims to do anything violent in my name or the Groyper movement's name. So it's very interesting. And again, we shouldn't expect the same thing from the left, but this is really shitty because, again, all of those free speech warriors who came out of the woodwork when Kimmel got fired, where are they now? There's nothing to be seen of them. They don't exist. Do we see the contradiction? Do we understand this? And you have people on the left, all on Twitter, of course, posting woke is back, right, after they saw Dasha got fired from her talent agency. And it's insane. So we'll see what happens. It's it's not great. But, we could understand what this is. Now, this is a new form of cancel culture because it's not entirely from the left. we know that this is because of Zionist cancel culture. Like, that's the thing now. All of this stuff, if you speak out about against the state of Israel in any particular way, now Nick has done more than that, right? We're gonna be honest. But if you speak out against Israel in any particular way, and you're connected to speaking out against Israel in any particular way, and your career is vulnerable, like, you're not gonna have a career anymore. It's just what they do to these people. It's a shame. And I think people should have whoever they want on their podcast, whether it's Nick Fuentes, whether it's Netanyahu, whether it's Kyle Kalinske, whether it's Kim Jong-un. Like, it doesn't matter. We should be able to talk to everybody. And the best speech wins. Bad speech is conquered by good speech, and the good speech will ultimately win. Like, what's so hard about that? We'll see, man. But, yeah, that's the show. A little bit of a short show today. I apologize. But, yeah, please subscribe to the channel. We thank you for watching. We appreciate you for watching. Give the video a like. Give it a comment. Good or bad, doesn't matter. We're also doing memberships now. Very excited about that. For as little as 99 cents per month, you can get priority comment, meaning I'm not replying to any comments on the YouTube videos anymore. But if you have the first tier of the membership for 99 cents per month, anytime you comment, there's a chance that I will comment back to you. If you're not in the 99 cent per month club, then I'm not going to comment back to you on the YouTube videos. And obviously there'll be more stuff as these next couple weeks go on, but I thank you so much. Have a good one. Bye-bye.